why don't we share the screen and look at some of your work, and we just talk, and people can also see, so you have easier time explaining what we're talking about visually. Because I have a question which most people might know and might not know. We don't know, so we're gonna ask it anyway. Is you said you did the lighting for the game, and when you do the lighting for the game, you're talking about player path, and then there's also the mood, and there's the technical limitation you have to follow. So let's break this down to three topics: the mood, which is the art style, including art style, the player path, as in how do you light for the player path in this game, and then the technical things. So which one do you want to cover first?
We'll go with art first, and then I guess you will naturally move on to gameplay and stuff. And so yeah, I was working on gameplay, like you said, on the environment. And one of the thing that was pretty tied up with art direction, it was a color palette. You talked a bit about it. If you look at every level, every mission has its own color palette, its own style, depending on which monster you're fighting, on what's the story behind the level. So that's always something we had to keep in mind. And we always try to work with usually with two color. We have one primary color that's usually rendered by the directional light, fog, all of those things, and then a secondary color that's kind of helping guiding the player and give a little touch of color in here and there. As you can see on this one, we all have those primary color. It's the yellow kind of harsh sunlight for that level. That it's kind of the main ambience of this particular level. And after that, you can see we have the secondary color that is the kind of bluish that's emitting from the crystal. We have some mushroom, some troll nests. We have a lot of light source that kind of give this secondary color. And we have that for pretty much all of our level. Here we have the yellow and blue palette. Here we are kind of in the same bluish, whitish main color with the deep red. Same for here, we have the whitish with the super orange color. So each level has this kind of balance between those two color. And if we go back to, like you said, the gameplay, I'm going to already jump into that. It's also helping us guide the player. Because when you start the level, you can see already at the end of the level, the super blue door coming from the crystal. And it's kind of giving up the idea of the player that this is the main focus. We have the directional light kind of pointing in the same direction. And after that, everything from the perspective of the player and the gameplay, every pocket kind of has that secondary color kind of guiding you from one pocket to another. So when you're playing the game, you know, when you're done with one arena, when you look up, you can see like not so far from where you are, there's another pocket with the same kind of bluish tint coming out of it. And it's really helped guiding the player. So it kind of goes both end in end, the art and the navigation for the player. So that's pretty much it for that. After that, the technical aspect of it, we talk about for lighting artists. Sometimes we're kind of we love to hug all of the performance of a game because lighting is expensive and we want it to look like super good. Obviously, we want super nice shadow. We want that thick, deep fog. For Dark Alliance, the one of the thing we had to keep in mind is we are on multiple platforms, from Xbox One to the new generation, PC, all of those things. So we cannot go crazy with all dynamic lighting everywhere and shadow caster everywhere. So we really need to focus on where we need important shadow, where we can fake it, when we can use static or stationary. That was another big part of it, trying to optimize all of those big level and make it sure they look super good. Also, if we look at other maps, cool. Sometimes the color palette, like we said, yes, it's helping guiding, but sometimes it's really for creating the mood. You can see the difference between the super sunny arch lighting, and then we go in another mission where we are in more of a nighttime. You can see the kind of village at the end with the super orange, red, fiery cam, so you know there's something going on there, but you have the nice moonlight coming in. So that's part of what I was doing on a daily basis, balancing those ambients together. Uh, with the help also of like art direction, like our art director have a super like nice vision of what he wanted, and it's pretty much what we did with those two color, like complementing each other on every level.
So every level have two color, and then you focus on player path using the second color. So like the torches in this case is probably what you use to,
Yeah,
to
exactly.
lead the player.
Mhm.
Okay, so you're having those color contrast basically, and then you also have to limit your shadows and make sure it's technically viable.
And sometimes also we have those color, those secondary color all the time, like we talked about. Sometimes we allowed ourselves of having one specific pocket, either for visual sake, or for just for the fun of like changing it a bit, because if we always have the same color throughout the level, sometimes it can get boring, so we can afford to have a bit more fun. So if we could look at this this post right there, uh, this we had a section with like super green glowy mushroom, and there's nothing green in that map, but we were like talking with the level designer, and we're like, oh, this pocket we need to make it feel special. We're going to have gameplay, a part of the quest that goes there, so can we make it look a bit different and make it look like to make it pop out from the rest of the map. So sometimes we have a third color that we add, but we have to be careful of not blending them all together. It's gonna look up like a weird pizza at the end if we add too much light, but we can end up with very specific pocket with crazy color also.
Yeah, I mean it looks amazing, and hopefully we'll scroll slowly over time through all of the images. But it's like there's a lot of different color and mood and creative coloring and lighting in this game, which is not very common in a lot of games, because a lot of games have the same color palette all over the place. It doesn't change too much, but here you have like green, blue, red. There's a lot of variety, which is really cool. I also see we have a lot of people watching. If you want to ask a question, you have to join Discord. On every stream, more or less, there should be a Discord link somewhere on the description, so you can join that. If you're on LinkedIn or Twitch, the chat should work. If you're on YouTube, I'm sorry, it's not working. So you definitely have to be on Discord to ask the questions. Feel free to ask any questions, especially if it's lighting related. That's very welcome. Can be technical things, artistic thing, color theory. I mean, you can look at some of the screenshots Williams is showing. It's a lot of variety here, and I believe you were the only lighting artist in this project as well.
I wasn't the only lighting artist. At first there were a bunch of people who work on lighting, but people change studios, stuff like that. So we were actually two lighting artists on the game. It was me and my colleague and mentor. Her name is Solen Cobbler. She's an amazing lighting artist. She worked on a game like Gears of War. She worked on the movie Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. She had a kind of big portfolio. And so we worked together. At some point, she was doing cinematic. She was focusing on cinematic lighting. Me, I was working on the environment lighting. But since the cinematic and take place in the environment, we kind of have a crossover of working together. Sometimes she was doing mostly every place there's a cinematic. She was in charge of lighting this area to make it fit with the cinematic. So we were two lighting artists working on the project. On the big production part of the project, there were a bunch of people before that also work on lighting. But yeah, on the gameplay side for